What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Command Point. My name's Ryan, and today we are going to be taking a look at this new balanced data slate that just dropped earlier this morning. Can't wait to get into this with you guys and let you know my thoughts on this new balanced data slate. But before we get into that, I do want to give a special thank you to everybody who, met up with us at Adepticon. Shane and I were at Adepticon this past week. We both made top 8. I wound up coming in 8th overall, and Shane wound up winning the entire tournament. But it was really cool coming out and seeing all you guys come up who came up and said hi to us, and just said that you guys enjoyed the channel and the content that we have. So big ups to you guys. It was awesome seeing you all there. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into this balanced data slate. So the first thing we see here for modifications to the core rules is that jump tests are now automatically successful. You don't have to roll and risk rolling a 1 and failing a jump test. That's probably I hate that personally, but it's probably for the best in terms of making Killzone BetaDEA an actual competitive board. And speaking of Killzone BetaDEA, there's a few updates here. So restricted line of sight is changed so that the target operative is not visible instead of it being obscured. That's pretty big. Tactical ploys that allow one or more operatives to be set up outside of your drop zone, for example, sneaky get and dimensional translocation. Such operatives must be set up wholly within 2 circle of your drop zone. So that is huge. That is going to help prevent those teams from being able to get some really nasty alpha strikes on BetaDEA. So I think all those changes go a long way in helping BetaDEA be a more, competitively balanced terrain set. There was no BetaDEA at Adepticon, but with these updates, I'm interested in trying it out again and seeing if it's a more balanced play experience. So moving on here, it looks like Commandos have gotten some more updates to them. So the Bomb Squig operative, the operative's APL characteristic cannot be positively modified. And for its special role, you make a shooting attack against each other operative within its engagement range instead of visible to it and within circle of it. Anyways, moving on now to the Choppa equipment. You subtract 1 from the weapon's attack characteristic, so I think you get 3 attacks with this instead of 4 now. I think that's fair. The Choppa equipment is one of the best melee equipment pieces out there in a team that already has a bunch of good melee. So I think that is a pretty good nerf to Commandos. And then Just a Scratch is getting updated here. So excluding Bomb Squig, and when damage would be inflicted from a normal hit only. So you can no longer use this to block crits, which is huge, especially with a lot of weapons out there that have 3-5, or there's a larger disparity than just 1 between the normal damage and the crit damage. I mean, you're still going to be using this, and I think this is it's still a good ploy. I'm not sure if that is enough to really keep that ploy from being a problem. Moving on now to my beloved veteran guardsmen. So at Adepticon, I took veteran guardsmen to top 8 on day 1. Almost beat Shane with them in our 3rd game on day 1. And so let's see what changes they have for the team here. So the spotter veteran, the operative spotter action, it treats that enemy operative as if it has an engage order unless that enemy operative is in cover provided by heavy terrain. That is huge, and that is a huge nerf. That's such a huge nerf to this team. I think this alone is going to hurt Veteran Guard a lot, but it looks like we've got some other updates here. Demo Veteran Operatives Detonate Special Rule. Change the distance requirement to circle instead of 3. All right. And an operative cannot be a valid target if heavy terrain is wholly intervening. You must be able to draw a cover line from the center of the mine token to any part of the intended target's base without crossing heavy terrain. And then the Demolition Veteran's plant action, this operative can only perform this action once. Those are, without doubt, huge nerfs to Veteran Guardsmen. Really the core of how the team operates, I think, with the Demo Veteran and that Spotter Veteran. So interesting to see where Shane and I will be placing them in an upcoming tier list. All right, so next up here we have the Void Dancer troop. All operatives, they removed the fly keyword and they gained the following ability instead: flip belts. This operative has the fly keyword for the purposes of moving around, across, and over other operatives. However, each time this operative is climbing or dropping, treat the total vertical distance as one circle. So that's huge if you're playing on BetaDEA, and I think BetaDEA is probably the reason for this nerf, because on BetaDEA, prior to this, the Void Dancer troop, I mean, when when you got 3 APL models all with fly on that board, and all the like obscuring terrain and stuff going on with that board, they can get pretty crazy. Okay, here we go. So Wormblade changed second paragraph of cult ambush ability to the first time this operative performs either a fight or shoot action in each of its activations, if its order was changed from conceal to engage during that activation, or it wasn't visible to enemy operatives at the start of that activation in the roll attack dice step of that combat or shooting attack, you can reroll any or all of your attack dice results of one result. It says enemy operatives instead of all enemy operatives, so I'm assuming as long as 2 enemy operatives don't have visibility to this model, then you're going to get that bonus, I guess. I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong in the comments down below. I'm not a Wormblade player. So now we're getting into Warp Coven here, outside of Void Dancers, or excuse me, not Void Dancers, Veteran Guardsmen. I think this team has the most updates going on that are going to affect how the team plays in the balanced Dataslate here. First up, the Exalted Astartes strategic ploy. It's now 0 ZP, so you're just going to be spamming this every turn. And you add the following. In addition, until the end of the turning point, each time a friendly Rubric Marine operative is activated, if it does not perform a fight action during that activation, it can perform 2 shoot actions, so you're getting double shoot. And if it's Gunner operative, 1 additional action point must be subtracted to perform the second shoot action. So your Gunners also have double shoot, but at the cost of 3 APL. They also have, for Rubric Marine operatives, the ability Sorcerer's Command. So each time a Rubric Marine is activated, if it's not within 9 inches of a friendly Sorcerer operative, you subtract 1 from its APL characteristic. Zangor operatives add 1 to their wounds characteristic. Psychic powers change all instances of the end of the turning point to the start of the operative's next activation until it's incapacitated, or until this psychic power is selected again, whichever comes first. So that's a big buff. Ephemeral instability psychic power, you subtract 1 instead of 2. And then arcane robes equipment only works, well, it works once per turning point. I don't know what it used to work. Let's take a look here. The arcane robes, the operative gains once per battle. Oh, okay. So it's 2 EP once per battle. When critical damage would be inflicted upon this operative, you can use this ability instead. If you do so, that attack dice inflicts normal damage instead. So now, instead of it being once per battle, you can use that once per turn. So that makes your Sorcerer operative a lot tankier. Moving on now, it looks like the Farstalker Kinband got some updates. The Killbroker operative's Ritual Blade and Blade, you add 1 to attacks characteristics. The Stalker's Blade, add 1 to the attack. The Hound operative changed GA characteristic to 1. I believe they were GA 2. So I think that's a bit of a nerf to the team. The Tracker operatives marked for the hunt and from the eye above actions. This operative cannot perform those actions while within engagement range of an enemy operative instead of 6 of them. So I think that's a good change. Let's move on here to Hotch Circle. So Shane took Hotch Circle to Adepticon and he wound up winning the entire tournament. So very cool to see that. Let's see how they have changed. So the Chronomancer operatives nanomine action, if the enemy operative would move within 3 of the token instead of 6, and you subtract 2 from the distance it can move to a minimum of 2, note that dash actions would therefore be unaffected. So this is a huge change to the team. the way the nanomine used to work was it had a 6-inch bubble around it, or I mean, we're talking like a 12-inch diameter, right? It would subtract 2 inches from all of your movement actions. So I believe so that's your charge, your normal move, as well as your dash. So if you were to move dash with a model that normally moves 6 inches, you're instead moving 5 instead of 9. So I mean that was huge. I think my math's right on that. So playing around that nanomine as it was incredibly difficult, and it would it would allow Hyrotech to kind of just really just like control an entire side of the board, um, or like a key like mid-board objective, and there was no really way to play around it. So I'm happy to see that change. The Technomancer's rights of reanimation action, you delete the first paragraph. The second paragraph becomes an ability, so you no longer have to perform an action, but you subtract 1 from the Technomancer operative's APL if you use that ability. So you're not performing an action, but you are losing 1 APL. That's interesting. So maybe the Technomancer now has a little bit more play. The Psychomancer operatives conjure trauma action. In addition, roll 1d6. If the result is higher than that enemy operative's APL, subtract 1 from that enemy operative's APL. So that's pretty cool. I mean, odds are at least a coin flip against like those 3 APL teams. The Apprentech operative, you change its APL characteristic to 3. So changing the Apprentech operative from 2 APL to 3 APL, that's pretty big. Oh, and then I completely missed the reanimation protocols ability. So resolve before the living metal ability. Operatives are successfully reanimated on a 2-up, I believe, before they reanimate on a 3-up. They regain D3 plus 3 lost wounds and can instead be placed within 3 of that reanimation token, but not within engagement range of enemy operatives, with an order of your choice. Yeah, so that reanimation protocol like change is huge because you're now reanimating before your living metal ability. So you're gonna resurrect, you're going to heal, and then you're gonna heal again. Yeah, so even with the change to the Chronomancer's nanomine, I think the team overall got better, and I think with the changes to the Technomancer and the Psychomancer going on, there is a lot more internal balance, I think, with the choices of like what Cryptech you want to take with this team. So that is pretty cool. It's funny. This team got so many changes in like the previous balanced data slate, or I think it was like two ago or whatever. And now it's getting even more changes, and I think the team just got like overall better. That nanomine is not as good as it once was, but the team overall has gotten a lot better. Let's move on here and see if there's any other changes. Okay, the Hearthkin Salvager team, the Dozer operatives Nux Smash action has changed. You add the following sentence: this operative can then perform a free charge action up to 3. Even if it's performed an action during this activation that prevents it from doing so. I think that's pretty big. Free movement and a free charge can be really, really good. The Locators operatives early detection ability. In addition, enemy operatives cannot move until the firefight phase of the first turning point. That's going to help a lot against just any sort of team that has like an alpha strike. The Locator operatives panspectral scan action. In addition, that enemy operative is not obscured for that shooting attack. So, okay, cool. Wow. So a few big changes, I think, for Hearthkin. That's really cool. That early detection ability is hilarious, and I think it shuts down. Does it shut down like recon? Does it shut down dashes as well? It says cannot move. Yeah, it doesn't say cannot like perform a move action. It says cannot move. So I think that just shuts down your the Into the Breach from Vet Guard. I think it shuts down the recon scouting step. That's pretty crazy. Next up, we have some changes for Felgor Ravagers. Felgors were pretty good at Adepticon. Two Felgor players made the top 8. So let's see what's going on here. The Ironhorn operatives call the attack ability. The selected operative must be visible to and within 6 of the operative. The Gnarl Scar operative's uncompromising attack action. You can only select an auto pistol for this action's shooting attack. The Warpaint equipment is now 2 equipment points, and the Death Knell's War Gong ability, no effect when the Death Knell operative has a Frenzy token. Okay. So overall, a few nerfs here for the Felgor Ravagers. Definitely toning them down a little bit. And now it's going to make prioritizing, killing the Death Knell a lot more important for opposing kill teams. It looks like Chaos Cult has also gotten nerfed here. The Winged Accursed Gift, you delete the first bullet point, which ignore any or all modifiers to its movement characteristic. Oof. Yeah, that's huge. And then operative selection, 1 less devotee operative. So they're only taking 9 devotees instead of 10 now. Those are pretty big nerfs to Chaos Cult. Yeah. All right, yeah, so that is all the changes from the new balanced data slate for Q1 2024 for Kill Team. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Overall, I really like all of these changes, especially the changes for Killzone BetaDEA. I like the changes to Vetguard. I think it makes the team a lot more fair to play against. I'm excited that Warp Coven has gotten a lot of buffs. They've just been kind of squalor, sitting in squalor in terms of competitive rankings for so long. I'm excited to see what people are able to do with them. And Hyrotech, the team that just won Adepticon, looks like it just got better. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the content that Shane and I put out here on Command Point, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. That way you don't miss out on any future episodes. And if you want to support us further, feel free to check out our Patreon. We've got 3 different tiers over there. Shane's been uploading stuff for the higher tiers over on our Patreon that you can only see through that. And then we also have our Discord channel. So make sure that you join that down below. The Discord channel is free to join, fortunately. So you can come and continue the conversation with us, talk with all these other Kill Team players around the world, and then we also run Kill Team tournaments through the channel all the time now. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all again soon.